Alright, here we are. We got the Pythagorean special right trigonometry test review. And for the first section it says use the Pythagorean theorem. So let's remember, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we always remember c is across from the 90. So in the first one, c is 25. A and b can be switched around, doesn't matter, but c has to be across from the 90. So with that information, we do Pythagorean theorem. So 7 squared plus x squared equals 25 squared. 7 squared is 49. 25 squared. Now that may not be something we do a lot, but 25 squared. 625. And then notice, x is not by itself. There's a 49 that we need to get rid of. So minus 49. Anytime you have a missing leg, a missing a or b, then you need to subtract. Okay? So 625 minus 49 gives us 576. And then remember, to get rid of that square, we're going to square root. Okay. Oops. Alright, and then we're going to do, like we've talked about before, a factor tree. Okay. So 576 divided by 2. 288. And then break that down to 144. Now this is going to end up being a square. I can already tell. So actually I have all pairs. Pair of 2, pair of 2, pair of 2, pair of 3. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, times 3 is 24. Okay? Alright, so that's a lot of factor tree on that one. Let's go to the next one. Now, hopefully you see if this is 5, then this is 5, and that's going to give us a right triangle with a missing hypotenuse, right? C is missing, A and B are not missing. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Number 1, put the answer up here. Okay, sorry. Number 1, the answer goes up top. Alright, let's do this. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So 10 squared plus 5 squared equals c, we'll call it x squared. Okay. Ten squared plus 5 squared we can do in one step. Ten squared plus 5 squared is 125. So 125 equals x squared. And then to get rid of the square, once again, we're going to do the square root. So what is the square root of 125? Well, 2 doesn't go into it, 3 doesn't go into it, but 5 goes into it. 5 times 25, and then 25 breaks down into 5 times 5. That gives you one pair of 5, one loner 5, so my answer would be 5 square root 5. Okay? Do number 3. So we're kind of running out of room, so we'll squeeze it in on the left-hand side. Remember, across from the 90, that's my C. And I got A, and I got B, right? So let's set this up. A squared, 5 squared, plus B squared, 12 squared, equals C squared. We'll call it X squared. Now 5 squared plus 12 squared, we can actually add those up together. They're on the same side. We combine like terms and we get 169. Now if you don't know that the square root of 169 is 13, okay, you can try it on your calculator. Don't forget you got to square root both sides. But when you do that, you should get 13 as your only pair, so the answer is just 13. Okay, and then over here, across from the 90 is C. We got A, we got B. So let's do this again. 7 squared plus 9 squared equals x squared. 7 squared plus 9 squared, one step in our calculator. We get 130. And then again, to get rid of the square, we do square root. So we got 2 times 65. 2 doesn't go into 65. 3 doesn't. 5 does. Okay. 5 times 13, I believe. Yeah. Now notice 2, 5, and 13, there's no pairs. Okay. So that means we're just going to rewrite square root of 130. No need to reduce it because, well, you can't reduce it. That's all that you have. Okay. All right, number 5. The bottom of a 10-meter ladder is 5 feet from a building. What is the height of the bottom, from the bottom of the building to the top of the ladder? Now the picture already has what you need right there. Okay, you're looking for x. So anytime you have 2 sides and you're looking for a third side in a right triangle, that's still going to be Pythagorean Theorem. So remember, across from the 90, that's your C. You got A and you got B. So let's set it up. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. 5 squared is 25. 10 squared is 100. And remember, you're missing a leg. You're missing A or B. That means you're going to have to get rid of the number on that same side with x. You're going to have to subtract. Okay. X squared equals 75. Now, notice, it's asking us for the height. And in the real world, when we're talking about buildings and links, okay, we don't actually measure in square root signs or square roots or radicals. So we're actually going to just plug this into the calculator to get our answer. So square root of 75, control x squared, 75, 8.66. And we are talking about meters, right? Okay, decimals are good for real life situations. The only time you need to do the factor tree method is if it says to reduce the radical or to put it in simplified radical form. Okay? Number 6, you will have one like this on your test, so please be careful of this. We have a pole that was struck by lightning and it broke into 2 pieces. One piece is still standing, 12 feet tall. So you can see right here, we got 12 feet. And the other part fell at an angle 16 feet away. How tall was the pole before it fell? Okay, so again, you got 16 feet away here. All right, now 12, 16. I'm missing this, but again, what am I looking for? How tall was the pole? Is the pole just x? No. Okay, in the end, we're going to take the bottom part of the pole, which is 12, plus the top part of the pole, whatever x is, right? So in the end, we have one last step. You have to add the 2 parts of the pole together. You're going to have one like this tomorrow. Please pay attention to this, okay? You have to add them up in the end, okay? So let's do this. Across from the 90 is my C. I got A, and I got B. Okay? So let's do this. 12 squared plus 16 squared equals x squared. What is 12 squared plus 16 squared? 400. Dang. And again, real life situation means I need to get a real life number. So don't do the factor tree. Plug it in. Oh, I do get a whole number either way. That's great. So again, we square root both sides. And we got 20 for x. And if you tell me 20 is the answer, you're dead wrong. Okay? So remember, how tall was the pole before it broke? Well, like we said over here, we got 12 plus x. Okay, we got this part plus this part. Add them up. Okay? So, we have to add these up. So we really get 20 plus 12, which equals 32, and we're talking about feet. Okay. Very important. Add the two parts together to get the whole final answer. Okay. All right. Next part. Use the picture to give the trigonometric ratio. When you see the word ratio, that means just give me the fraction. That's what a ratio is. Okay. So I want you to notice 13, 14, and 15. We are all starting at F. Okay. So here's my F. That's where I'm starting. Some people don't start at the right angle and they get the wrong answer. So make sure you start at the right angle. F. I'm going to label O, H, and A, so I can use SOHCAHTOA. So for 13, for sine, I'm going to use SO, O over H, so 4 over 5. For cosine, I'm going to use CA, A over H, 3 over 5. And then for tan, I'm going to use TOA, O over A, 4 over 3. All right. Not too bad. You don't need to solve anything. You don't need to do any trigonometry, inverse trig. You don't use a calculator. Just write the fraction, okay? If it says, give the trigonometric ratio, okay? All right, 16. Solve for the variable in the following trigonometry problems. Again, we're going to use, for trig, SOHCAHTOA. All right, 16. Here's my angle, so I'm going to label O, H, A. Which one am I not going to use? O has a 17, A has an X. I'm not going to use H. So since it's O and it's A, I'm going to use tangent, because that's TOA. So tan, the angle, which is 50, equals O over A, 17 over X. Now, in class, we learned this trick. If x is on the bottom, okay, if it's below in the fraction, then you can take this and switch places. Okay, so x is going to go to the left by itself, equals 17 still on top, tan 50 goes to the bottom. Not just 50, but tan 50 goes to the bottom. All right. So let's type that in the calculator. And how do we type it in? We're going to type 17 division tan 50. Okay, so 17 divided by, go to trig, tan 50. We're in degrees mode, so we're good. And we get 14.26. Okay. And that's good. Kind of redundant. We'll write it up here in the blank. All right, 17. Let's go ahead and find our angle. There it is. Label O, H, and A. And then what? Cross one of them out. So the one that has nothing on it is A. So since I have O and H, I'm going to use SO, S-O-H. S stands for sine, then the angle is 35, and that equals O over H. Okay? Now, let me just move this real quick, or rewrite this so we don't get confused. Alright, now, x is on top, not on the bottom. We are not going to do the switcheroo trick, okay? Since x is on top, it's being divided by 26. The opposite of dividing is multiplying by 26 to cancel out the 26. And if I do it over here, I got to do it over here. So on the left side, I'm also going to do times 26. And that's what I'm going to type in my calculator. Sine 35, end the parentheses, times 26. Let me show you how to type it in. Sine 35, end the parentheses, times 26. So hit sine, hit 35, and I want you to look. What's red on my button right here is the end parentheses. You have to stop the sine 35 before you hit times. That way the times is after the sine 35, and it's times what? 26. So sine 35 times 26 is 14.91. So very good. We got 14.91 equals x. Put that up here. So I want you to notice the two rules. If x is on bottom, x on bottom, switch with the left. X on top, multiply by the bottom. Okay, so these are two of my rules that you got to know. Okay. Down here, number 18. Let's label O, H, and A. 53 is here, so here's O, H, A. I hope you see O is nothing, so cross out O. Since I have AH, I know that's so, ka, toa, C-A-H. So AH is cosine of 53 degrees equals A over H, which is 45 over, now this letter is K. It doesn't matter if you put K or X, to be honest, okay? In the end, X will just be K. But my variable, my K, my X, is on the bottom. So it's just like when we did number 16. We're going to have to take the left side and the bottom side and switcheroo. K swings over to the left, equals 45 is still on top, and then cosine 53 goes to the bottom. So let's type that in. 45 divided by cosine 53. 45 divided by cosine 53. And I get 74.77. Write it up here. Very good. Alright, another one here. Got my angle, so I got O. Now this is supposed to be a right angle, so that's going to be H. And that's A. No O, just like number 18, means it's going to be cosine. Ka. So cosine 60 equals A over H. X is on top. Just like number 17, when x is on top, I'm going to multiply by the bottom, the denominator. So the bottom is 13. So that means instead of dividing by 13, we're going to put times 13 on both sides. It cancels out on the right. And now, I just need to type in my calculator cosine 60 times 13. So trig cosine 60, end the parentheses, times 13. And I get 6.5. Not bad. Alright, so that's some trig. Down here on 20, 21, and 22, it tells you specifically what you need to be doing. Use inverse trig. Okay? Remember, inverse is the little negative ones, right? So where you see all these question marks, okay, those are x's, okay? So I'm looking for x, but I'm going to do the same setup. Label O, H, A. Which one am I not going to use? H is empty, so I have O and A. Now let's not forget what we're supposed to be using is SOHCAHTOA. So SOHCAHTOA, OA is going to be TOA, tangent. And remember, you have to put the angle next to the trig, and the angle's missing. We're not going to put a question mark, we're going to put an x. Tan x equals O over A, 21 over 25. Now look at this. X is not in the fraction. It's not on top. It's not on bottom. We're not using any of the rules from the prior 4 problems. Okay. This is when we use inverse trig, like when we did this assignment on my birthday, February 6th, when I was gone. So, but if you weren't here, you forgot. Here's what you do. X needs to be by itself. It's not, because there's some trig right here. So what we're going to do is take the trig, throw it on the other side, but it has to go inverse. You can't move it to the other side unless you make it an inverse trig. So what do we end up with? X is by itself, yay. But tangent now is going to be tan inverse. That's what the little negative 1 means. 21 over 25. And now all we got to do is plug that in the calculator. Tan inverse 21 over 25. So go to trig. Tan inverse is on the bottom. Tan inverse, and then 21 divided 25, I get 40.03. Okay, let's try 21. So again, I'll put an X right there. I'm going to label O, H, A. This is another one where H is missing, so I'm going to use OA, which is tan, TOA, right? So tangent X equals O over A. And then I'm going to move the tangent to the other side, right? So it's got to go over here. But to get to the other side of the equal sign, it's going to turn into an inverse. Okay? So here we go. X equal sign. Tan on the other side now, but it's inverse. 9 over 29. So now we just got to type in our calculator, tan inverse 9 over 29. Trig on the bottom. Tan inverse 9 over 29. Enter, and I get 17.24. Okay. Alright, next one over here. Again, here's X, so I'm going to label O, H, and A. No O, so cross it out. AH is cosine. So cosine X equals A over H. So 37 over 40. Cosine goes to the other side, but it's going to be an inverse. So X equals cosine inverse 37 over 40. Okay, cosine inverse 37 over 40. It's on the bottom, cosine inverse, 37 divided by 40, and I get 22.33. And that's inverse trig. So remember, there's regular trig when you're missing a side, and then there's inverse trig when you're missing an angle. Okay? And all these situations have to do with 2 sides, 1 angle. You're just missing either one of those sides or one of those, that angle, okay? So we got a word problem with trigonometry. 25-foot flagpole, okay? Hopefully you can see that. 25's right here, right? 42-foot shadow right there. And I got a missing angle. This is going to be some inverse trig, right? What is that angle? Let's label O, H, and A. We can't forget SOHCAHTOA now, can we? SOHCAHTOA. So, H is gone. Goodbye, H. So, OA is TOA. So, let's do tan X equals O over A. 42 over 25. I want my X by itself, so the tan needs to go to the other side with a little inverse sign. So X equals tan inverse, and then that's 42 over 25. Okay, real quick. Forgot to cross that out. All right. So tan inverse 42 over 25. We get 59.24 after we round. And that's our angle in degrees, right? Now these next three should be easy because it just says to use your calculator. Type them in. Let's do it. Cosine 91. Speed round. Cosine 91 is negative 0.02. We're going to round to the hundredths place. Sine 24. .41. Tan 17. Trig. Tan 17. Enter. 0.31. So make sure you round to whatever it tells you to. Okay? Those are easy, right? Now, let's go back to radicals. 147. Okay? We want to think what goes into 147. So we can try 2. Well, it's an odd number. That doesn't work. Let's try 3. Here's a way to do that. Let's take 147 and see if we divide by 3, do we get a whole number? Yes, we do. We get 49. That's great. So this is 3 times 49. And then 49 is going to be, obviously, 7 times 7. Those are both prime. And now I think, what are my pairs? Pair of 7. And when I have my square root answer, remember, what you circle goes out to the left. 7 will be on the left. And the loner 3 is going to be on the inside. 7 square root 3. Okay? 28, let's break down 60. 2 times 30. 2 times 15. 3 times 5. Now I want you to notice there was already a 3 out front. So I'm going to circle that 3. I cannot forget that 3. And now I look at my factor tree and I have one pair of 2. Okay? So what am I going to do? I'm going to take that pair of 2, multiply with that 3 that's already outside, and I'm going to get 6, not 5. You multiply them. This outside 3 times this pair of 2 gives you 6. And my 2 loners are going to multiply to make 15. Alright? 29, they're both square roots of 3, so I can subtract them. 8 minus 5 is 3. Square root of 3 is the square root of 3, right? So just remember, when you add or subtract, the square root stays the exact same. Alright, so check this out. We got 2 over 1, which is, so the numbers out front, can we divide them? Yes, 2 over 1 is 2. And then the square roots, can we divide those? 12 divided by 4? Yeah, we get 3. 3 doesn't break down, there's no fraction. I'm done. Okay? That one's easier than it looks. Okay, 31. I cannot have a square root on the bottom. So what do? Times the same square root on the bottom and the top. Okay? So on the top, 6 times the square root of 3 is 6 square root of 3 over, and then on the bottom, square root of 3 times square root of 3 is just 3. Okay? Now, if you stop there, you're not done, okay? Because I want you to notice the fraction, the whole numbers I have on top is 6, and on bottom is 3. 6 over 3 does reduce to 2, right? And then the square root stays the same. So it's 2 square root of 3. All right? 32, can I add these up? Well, I can add up the square root of 7 and the square root of 7, right? So what's 8 plus 11? 19 square root of 7. Remember, the square root stays the same when you're adding. And then the different one, just bring it down. Plus 4 square root of 5. That's it. Can't do anything more to that. All right? All right, next one, geometric mean. Okay, they're not really notes, but geometric mean. Okay, we did this stuff on the 9th. Okay, it's not that bad. I just want you to remember, you do the long section on the outside over the altitude, which is on the inside, equals the altitude on the inside over the short segment on the outside. Okay, or here's a way you can draw it. Look at the outside. Which one's the longer one? This is the longer one, right? So it's going to be this over this equals the same thing, this over this. Okay? So I'm going to write 9 over x equals x over 2. 9 over x over 2. Cross multiply. 9 times 2 is 18. Equals x times x, which is x squared. Square root both sides. 18 is 2 times 9, and 9 is 3 times 3. Pair of 3, loner 2. That means 3 square root of 2. Let's do the same thing here. The long one is this. So this over this equals this over this. So x over 6 equals 6 over 3. Cross multiply. 6 times 6, 36. X times 3, 3x. Now since there's no square, we don't need a square root. We're just going to divide by 3, divide by 3. And I get 12 equal sign x. 3 and 4, same idea. This over this, this over this. 8 over x equals x over 3. 8 times 3 is 24. X times x is x squared. Get rid of the square with the square root. Factor tree, 2 times 12, 2 times 6, 2 times 3. Pair of 2. 2 loners. So that means the pair of 2 is right here. And then 2 times 3 is 6. The 2 loners got to multiply. Don't forget that. Okay? Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Come on, man. Sorry for these technical difficulties. Thank you so much for working. All right. My goodness. Okay. Sorry about that. Big over middle, middle over small. 11 over x equals x over 5. 11 times 5 is 55. X times x is x squared. Square root, square root. Now 55 is 5 times 11. There's no pairs. So the square root of 55 is the answer. Alright, so make sure you're boxing your answers so I can see them. Almost forgot to do that. Alright, And then the last two, blaze through these. So again, big over middle, middle over small, so x over 9 equals 9 over 2. 9 times 9 is 81. X times 2 is 2x. How do I get rid of the 2 in front of x? Divide by 2, divide by 2, and I get 40.5. You can use your calculator for that one. Alright. And then, last but not least, big over middle, middle over small, 15 over 7, 7 over x. 7 times 7 is 49. 15 times x is 15x. Then we get rid of 15, the coefficient, by dividing, as usual. Okay, and what is 49 divided by 15? Let's find out. 49 divided by 15. Hit Control Enter to get the actual number. We get 3.27. That's your review, okay? So you need to study all the different parts: Pythagorean Theorem, Trigonometry, Inverse Trigonometry, Reducing Radicals, and Geometric Mean. All right? So be ready.